Hello, my beautiful fairy angel friends. Welcome back to another episode of Endometriosis Awakening. Ba, 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 ba. Awaken. My name is Emma and I am your host. Today we have a very exciting topic. We are talking about sex. Woo, whoop, 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 whoop. More specifically, painful sex. So let us begin, shall we? In early 2024, when my health hit complete rock bottom, I talk about it in my book, I talk about it in my other videos. One of the main symptoms that came up during this time was extremely painful sex. Symptoms are our messengers. Our symptoms are communicating with us. My symptom was communicating something about sexuality, sexual trauma. So I'm having sex with my sweet, loving boyfriend who has never sexually harmed me or made me feel uncomfortable or pressured me. And it feels like all of a sudden, like our sex for 2.5 years at this point is awesome sex, totally pain-free. I definitely had times where I got triggered, for sure, 100%. Like there were a few times we'd be having sex and I would just start hysterically sobbing. There were times he would touch me in certain spots, in certain ways, in certain positions that I could like feel my stomach drop to my ass, and I would feel so triggered and uncomfortable, even though it had literally nothing to do with him, because it usually doesn't. I'm still being triggered. And so the sex becomes so painful, it feels like literal knives stabbing into me. And so I'm like, awesome, add this to the list of things that is happening to my body, like what the actual fuck. And so we stop having sex. At first, I didn't really correlate it to my sexual trauma because I didn't even really acknowledge that I did have sexual trauma. I grew up in a very devout Mormon household. If you don't know anything about Mormonism, sex before marriage is basically like one of the greatest sins you could ever commit. It's very sinful, very shameful. I grew up talking in church about how it was literally like the worst thing that you could do, how it made you dirty and gross, and that basically everything sexual was bad, very bad. It was basically like either kissing or sex after marriage. Like we had this thing, it was called the For Strength of Youth, and it talked about how you couldn't pet like pet each other's privates, you know, you couldn't kiss laying down, you couldn't touch. So it's like all of it besides kissing was completely unacceptable, right? So I'm getting fed that narrative from my church, which is where I'm attending every Sunday for church and also going for Young Women's. And also my parents are having me read the scriptures, having me live my life based off the principles of the For Strength of Youth. Also, along with this, I, as a child, am extremely neglected emotionally, physically, and my parents never talked to me about sex, ever. Nothing about it, which is crazy because they talked to all my other siblings about it. Well, I don't know all of them. Definitely my older siblings, they talked to me about it. They had this book that they gave them and they're like, wait, you didn't get a book? I'm like, bro, no, I did not get a book. Like, the only knowledge I had about sex was what I was learning from my friends, what I was learning online, and what I was learning from my church. So at 14 years old, I get this boyfriend, right? And he is also Mormon, but like, I don't know, he's demented in his own way. Who even knows what was going on in his head? We'll never know because he's so far out of my life. Thank you, Jesus. So we start dating at 14 years old, okay? Again, I'm extremely unsupervised. My parents know of him. They know that we're hanging out, but they don't really know like the extent and the relationship of our relationship. I have uncensored phone access, so we are texting each other. We're texting each other completely inappropriate things, like sending each other pictures, and he's like sending me these very sexual texts. He's also 14 at the time, okay? And we like went to school together. And not only is he sending me these extremely uncomfortable and inappropriate sexual texts, but he's also like emotionally abusing me in the way that he's like, hey, like, I had a really, really bad day today. Like, the only thing that will make me feel better is seeing your boobs. Boy, bye. Like, what the actual fuck? But I'm 14 years old and I'm like in my own demented head, you know? Like, imagine, okay, middle school is like the craziest time. And middle school for me was like literally such a horror movie. So he's like, oh, like, I really feel like I'm gonna kill myself today. Like, please let me touch your boobs. Like, please send me a picture of your ass. And me, I have no boundaries. I have no concept of what a healthy, loving, respectful relationship is. I have no connection or respect to myself, no self-love, no concept of the divinity that is me. So I'm like sending him pictures, and then we would like be hanging out unsupervised, of course, all the time, and we would be kissing, and then it started to progress where he would like want me to touch his dick, and I was like, this whole time I'm like extremely uncomfortable with it, but I'm not really voicing that to him, right? Like, he's the dominant person in our relationship and I'm just like at his disposal. Like, I literally was treated and felt like a complete object for his pleasure, which is so freaking insane. And I think also very relatable for a lot of women. And so it starts to get more sexual, and he starts to like touch my vagina, which is extremely uncomfortable for me. And that is when I started to be like, hey, like, I don't really fuck with this. Like, this is really making me uncomfortable. And he's like, no, like, it's fine. Like, this is how we connect. And then he'd pull like the, I'm just so depressed and this just makes me feel so much better, which, like, yeah, it does, because like sex and these feelings that you're feeling is like literally a drug, and it does make you feel like this euphoria. And so he's like making me feel bad for stating that I feel uncomfortable with it. And then it like keeps progressing, and he keeps doing these things that I'm extremely uncomfortable with. And I keep telling him like, hey, like, I'm not really comfortable with this. And he's like, no, like, it's fine. Like, we just, like, we're just going to keep doing it. And he would just, like, keep pushing it and keep pressurizing it. And that just shut me the right up, right? Like, I'm just, like, surrendering to what's happening to me. And I had a closed hymen, which means that, like, the place that a penis or a finger or a tampon goes up, mine was closed. So he began to like finger me, and I just start crying, and I'm like, this hurts so bad. And he's like, no, like, it just hurts at first, like, it's fine. And so I'm literally just sobbing, laying there as this man is like caressing my vagina. Also, keep in mind that another thing in the church that was extremely no-go was masturbation. So this man is touching me and violating me in my vagina before my own fingers have even tried to do that. You know what I mean? Like, my very first sexual experience, well, first verbally, my first sexual experience, it's very shameful, disgusting, gross, bad. Then my first physical sexual experience, it's extremely uncomfortable and painful, and I'm literally an object for this man. Like, it is doing nothing for me except for making me uncomfortable, making me sad, hurting me. Like, clearly there's no pleasure in this for me at all whatsoever. So he's like hurting me really bad, and I just have to like, this is where I first become disconnected from my body, right? Because it's like, it's hurting, but to me, I'm like, there's there's nothing I can do. It's like I completely freeze. I try to like get out of my body into my mind, like not really focusing on what's happening, because it hurts really bad while he's doing this. And so then like that happened, and it's the first time it happened is like a very very distinct memory in my mind. And then it happened multiple times after that. Every time I'm like, hey, I'm not comfortable with this, I'm crying. I think probably eventually I stopped trying to protest and I just allowed it to happen, because after it happened, then it was like nice, right? Like we got to cuddle and he's like very sweet to me, and I'm like feeling this intimacy with this person when I don't really have the intimacy from my parents or the intimacy with myself. Like this is really my only form of intimacy besides like with my siblings and with my friends. So eventually I just stop protesting. I just allow it to happen. I become a victim in this cycle of this horrible relationship that I'm in. And then this is actually crazy. I'm just going to share this story because the power of prayer is so real. So I was sitting in seminary class, which is a church class that happens during school, because I lived in Utah, and so seminary is during school. And I'm sitting in the back of seminary, and I'm like, God, please, like I can feel and I know that this relationship is not good and this is bad, but like I see no way out, and I can't possibly walk away from this, because at this point, this man is everything to me. I have no more friends because I've completely cut everybody off. Like I'm isolated in this relationship with him. My friends don't know about it. My family doesn't know about it. I'm completely alone, suffering in this relationship. And I'm just praying. I'm like, please God, like let me out of this relationship. Please. I don't know how, but it needs to happen. Like I know it needs to happen. I swear to God, a few hours later, he texts me and he's like, hey, my parents found like all of our texts, and like they're taking my phone away and we can never see each other again. And I'm freaking out because again, I'm like, still, this man is like everything to me. And to this day, I don't even really know what his parents found, but like our texts, again, were extremely inappropriate and extremely not okay, because he was also Mormon. Beep, beep, beep. Pardon this quick interruption for a shout out to today's sponsor. Thank you, Sunshine Mermaid Press Company, for sponsoring today's video. I am Sunshine Mermaid Press Company. This video is sponsored by me because I wrote a book. It's called How I Transformed My Life with Endometriosis. It is literally a piece of my heart and soul written on some pages that I wrote. And yeah, if you want to buy that, link in my description. It would mean the world to me. And I think it's a pretty good book. I definitely would recommend to a friend, which is why I'm recommending it to my friend right now, the person watching this video. Thank you so much for watching my video that I created. This is so fun. Another little insert here. If you aren't already, please subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, let me know your opinions on what I'm saying. Maybe a like, maybe share it with a friend. Thank you for being here and supporting my journey. Okay, back to the video. Pew. So then he's like, hey, this was really bad. My parents are having me go to the bishop, and I think that you should go to the bishop as well. The bishop is like the head of our church congregation, not like the main head. There's like different levels, but he's like the main of our ward, which is like the group of people in our community lines. Again, I have no concept that this is sexual assault, emotional abuse. I just feel like I did something wrong. I feel very dirty. I feel gross. I feel hurt. And so I go to the bishop and I am telling him these intimate details about this man this boy that was fingering me. And the bishop's just like, I could tell that he was like so uncomfortable, and I was so uncomfortable. I tell him about it. He's like asking me these questions. Then he's like, okay, just like don't do it again. And he lets me go out of his office. I never classified it as sexual assault. I never realized or thought about the impact that it was having on me through all of these years, because for the next few years I literally did not talk about it to anyone. I shoved it down, suppressed it, act like it didn't happen. I felt gross about it. I didn't even know what to feel about it either. Like, I knew I felt bad about it, but I just pushed it, suppressed it. I blamed myself for it. I thought that I was disgusting and worthless. This wired a belief in my body, in my brain, in my heart, that I am for the pleasure of others. I am for the pleasure of a man. Sex is not like enjoyable or pleasurable for me. So then, years later, boom, sex is painful. So at first, I'm just looking at it from a physical perspective. I read about how other women with endometriosis have painful sex. And so I'm like, okay, this is just like part of my disease. And so I'm looking up what people do for this. And I read about how some women do pelvic floor physical therapy for it. So the town that I was moving back to have insurance, I find a pelvic floor physical therapist. And in her description, she talks about how it can be used for endometriosis, painful sex. Her name is Kelsey Shumway at Shift Physical Therapy in St. George, Utah. I 100% recommend her. Her and her team were so amazing and compassionate. Like, it was literally the first time in my life that I was in a healthcare provider's office, and I felt like she actually saw me and cared about me and actually was supporting me and validating me in my pain, which was like so cool and amazing to experience, because I had been to so many doctors before that and literally never felt like they actually cared about me or saw me. So I began to do pelvic floor physical therapy. Pelvic floor physical therapy 100% helped me in so many ways. It helped me learn the mechanics of my body, how to move in correct ways, bring strength and life and connection back to these places that were weak and hurt. Majority of what we worked on was my breath. My whole life, I was breathing into my chest. My posture was very caved in. I wasn't standing up straight. We are supposed to be breathing into our belly. I was not doing that, and it took like literally weeks of physical therapy and learning how to properly breathe for me to actually be able to do it. Like, we would just be laying there and she's trying to explain it to me, and it was so hard for me to actually do what she was telling me to do. So it was mobility in my belly simply by breathing deeply into my belly. We did some yoga moves like cat-cow, child's pose. She's literally just majority teaching me how to breathe in these different poses. We're also doing hip opening and strengthening exercises. I definitely think that pelvic floor physical therapy helped me with my pelvis pain, my endometriosis, and my painful sex. Also, along with that, it wasn't just pelvic floor physical therapy. I was doing yoga every single day. Another thing that we did in pelvic floor physical therapy was an internal work. So I'm laying there, legs open, hello physical therapist, and she is inserting her finger and massaging like the outside of whatever that is. I don't really know female anatomy, which is not good. I should probably learn that, but it's not like they teach it in school. Literal rage for what they teach us in school. Oh my god. And so when she did that, it was like so painful when she would put her finger in me. But one of the main things that I noticed from doing the internal work was how tense I got and how stressed it made me. Like, it was such just a trigger that when somebody touched me down there, it just instantly, I'm tensing, I'm closing. And so I had to learn to like open and relax and drop into my body. And also during this time, I'm doing talk therapy, EMDR therapy. EMDR therapy for my sexual trauma was so huge for me. I was able to find deep healing, deep inner child healing. I was able to rewrite that story and be able to comfort and acknowledge and talk to my 14-year-old self who needed that so bad, because I blamed myself and I felt so guilty and like it was all my fault and that I was to blame, and I wasn't. And I was able to like have that conversation with myself, which was so healing, to be able to see and support myself in a way that I was supposed to be seen and supported by my parents, and to be like, hey, this actually wasn't your fault. Like, this purely was a lack of education on boundaries and respect and sexuality in a positive way. Also, guided breathwork journey, what I talked about in my last podcast, that could definitely help sexual trauma. Also, the somatic release of it through yoga, through just dancing. Like, it was reclaiming my sexuality as a woman in a positive way and becoming connected to my body and this extreme power and freedom in my body. Every single night I would be naked, just like with myself, and touching my body and looking at my body in the mirror, looking at it down, finding these like fun, crazy movements and dances and pounding the ground and releasing all of this pent up rage and suppression. And it was about expressing myself creatively and like truly just loving and respecting and honoring this vessel that is my body, and becoming reconnected to it and rediscovering my fire and my wild nature and the awesomeness that is being a woman, and reconnecting to the awesomeness that is sex. Sex is awesome and powerful and so intimate. Sex is like one of the most intimate things that you can do. And so to be able to experience sex in a positive new way with my boyfriend in the past, it's not that sex was negative due to what he was saying and what he was doing to me. Like, he's always been extremely respectful of my boundaries and how I'm feeling about it and what I want to do. But it was like the freedom and the powerfulness in my own body, like actually wanting sex because sex felt good and felt connective, as opposed to feeling like sex was my duty and something that I was to do for this man. I found sex to be something that I actually really enjoy, and finding what makes me feel good and what I like and what I don't like, and setting those boundaries and just enjoying it. When I wasn't able to have sex anymore, like, me and my mans were abstinent for multiple months. Not one single time did he make me feel guilty or bad or try to pressure me into it. He was nothing but loving and respectful and supportive of me, as he should. If your man is ever pressuring you or making you feel bad about it or trying to push you to do things or just making you feel shitty about it in any way, literally, boy, bye. You deserve so much. It is your most sacred area, like your vagina, and going into, like, this man is literally inserting into your most powerful divine energy, and we expect nothing but the best. Like, we need to have these strong boundaries and only let people who love and respect us and cherish us to be able to have sex with us. I think so many women experience sexual trauma in varying degrees, and because mine wasn't technically rape, I didn't think that that was an issue. I didn't think that I had been sexually assaulted, but there is such a range. And like, just because yours might not look or sound as bad or as brutal as somebody else's does not diminish the fact that it is affecting you on emotional, spiritual, energetic, physical level. Allow yourself to own that. Allow yourself to be like, hey, yeah, that actually was really fucked up and that actually was not okay, and I actually really need to address this. It's literally devastating how many women have these negative experiences with men, but there are ways to find your power and find your beauty and divinity in sexuality and be able to restore the awesomeness that is sex, because sex is so much more than physical. It's affecting us on all of these levels, and so when you have this traumatic experience, again, it's affecting you on all of these levels. I had to release him, release the story, release the blame, the suppression, the shame, and I had to fill it with like power and wildness and acceptance and love and appreciation. If you have painful sex, there are things that you can do to reclaim that, and not only just have sex that feels like okay, maybe not so painful, but have some freaking awesome banging sex that is mind-blowing and feels so good. And it's possible for you, because I experience it now in a way that I have never experienced sex. Like, our sex before and then after, when I had painful sex, is completely different in my body and in my mind. And it's possible for you too. I do think that painful sex is related to sexual trauma. Like me and Bryn talked about in our breath episode, maybe the sexual trauma isn't even yours. We're holding this story of generations of women, most of which were probably sexually assaulted, because marital rape wasn't even a thing until like the 70s, I think, which basically marital rape, if you don't know what that means, it means that a husband could do whatever he wants, and as long as they're married, then nothing could be rape because they're married. Oh! Like, what the fuck? But I'm pretty sure most women have their share of sexual trauma. Again, when you are trying to heal and find the bottom meaning and why these symptoms are coming up, ask your body why it is coming up. Your body holds the answers and the keys and the divine intelligence to know why you are in pain, and also how to get out of pain. Go outside, close your eyes, take some deep breaths into your belly, and ask your body why this is happening. If you do not face your trauma head on, it continues to follow you around and literally haunt you until you address it. That's all I got to say about that. Thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. May God be on your side. May you find freedom in your sexuality, in your femininity. May sex be awesome and magical for you. May you only allow people who love and respect and cherish you into your holiness that is your body. I love you. I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you. You're never alone. You have the earth and your ancestors and animals and the sun and our community and strangers and people you love and people you know and people you don't know and people that you don't know yet that are going to love you, and create the space in your circle for people that honor you and see you and love you for who you are. Don't let these rat ass men use us for our body, and don't let these rat ass men experience your beautiful magical hoo-ha unless they deserve it. I love you. You're doing amazing. Remember to take some deep breaths, get outside, move your body. Till next time, see you next week. Bye.